After making 6 figures with just cold outreach alone, I've realized that there's 5 essential things when it comes to landing as many deals as possible, especially when you're selling cold. There is things that you can do that are literally unnoticeable to your leads, but that subconsciously just make them want to buy without them even realizing it. We'll start with what made the biggest difference in my closing rate, which is number 1, letting them think that they are in charge. I really hope the reading isn't like freaking chicken scratch, but that's number 1. Letting them think that they are in charge. Now, obviously, to a degree, they are in charge because it really comes down to whether they want to give you their credit card info or not, but this is very big. We want the other person to feel like they're buying and not being sold, and think that they are making the decision and not being persuaded into it. But you know damn well, we are selling them and we are persuading them. Not in a bad way though, unless you have a bad product. Shame on you. The way that I go about doing this is honestly a combo of the rest of the 4 things that we're going to talk about, mainly the last one, but specifically for this one, it's having a very smooth close. There we go. The way that my close goes, it's essentially, if that sounds fair and it's something you want to get done, all you really need is X. And you can replace the X with their email address, their home address, their credit card info, essentially just whatever makes the most sense for your industry. And after I finish that sentence, I just look down at my phone as if I'm expecting them to just give me their address. Because let's say you don't do that and you're just staring at them waiting for their email address or whatever, then it kind of becomes a do I want this or not? But whereas if you are looking at your phone and you are really expecting them to just give you the answer and essentially just give you the yes without saying yes, it makes it that much more of an impulse buy, which is very important. I hope that makes sense. Essentially just use my close and then look down at your keyboard if you're over a phone call, or look at your phone if you're in person. I promise if you do this, you're going to get more results. You're going to get more deals. The second thing that will essentially be the deciding factor of whether you will get the sale or not is their first impression of you. If you're in person, it's like 2 seconds. They look at you, they completely dissect you. And this 2 seconds alone plays such a big factor in whether they will buy or not. This is honestly why a lot of ugly people have a hard time doing sales. It's also why I kind of stopped hiring ugly people. I can't really fix you being ugly, but what I can fix is what you say and how you look, and essentially how you make them perceive you within the first 2 seconds of you being at the door, or the first 2 seconds of them seeing you in the store, etc. Actually, not in the store because I wouldn't be cold. At the door. I'll kind of tie the third point into this as well, because it does play a really big part, and that is being nonchalant while at the same time being enthusiastic or excited, whichever one makes the most sense. Enthusiasm and excitement, I don't know, you can kind of interchange them, but I just like the word enthusiasm a little bit more, because when I think of the word excited, I think of a little kid jumping around because he got ice cream or whatever. When I think of someone being enthusiastic, it just means that they're happy to be doing what they're doing and they're just enjoying themselves. One thing is too, if you're someone who's sad or very nervous when you're talking to your potential customer or your lead, the chances of you getting the sale is literally 10% of what it was originally. So really just focus on being nonchalant, as well as just being as enthusiastic as you can throughout the entire time of the sale. For me, one thing is too, try and really eliminate all the uhs and ums and the stops and the stutters in your pitch. I'll be honest, one thing that I started doing that I think makes a really big difference is honestly filling in an somewhere in the beginning, just to kind of make myself seem more human, more just relaxed as well. Like, hey, my name's Issa. This is what we're doing. That's what I do, at least. Maybe try throwing that into your pitch or how you go about selling. I think that might also make a little bit of a difference, and it might help you out a little bit too. And one more add on to this as well, before we move on and I really give you the scoops of this, is try and talk a little bit slower. I really mess up with this a lot of the times. I tend to talk very quick. Sometimes I can just make you, I just did, I'm catching myself at least. One thing that can do is kind of just make you seem a little bit higher pitch. You don't really want to be a little nerd whenever you're talking to someone. Just try and talk a little bit slower, because then you will make a lot less mistakes as well. I'm going to try talking slower for the rest of this video as well. When it comes to being enthusiastic and nonchalant, you also don't want to sound like a regular salesman, even though that's what we essentially are. You want to make it come across as you're just stopping by or you're just talking with them because of whatever reason. The way that my pitch goes is, oh, hey, how's it going? It's good to hear. I think you saw me a little bit earlier. I don't know, maybe all good if you haven't. We were just helping out two of the neighbors over there. This is what we were doing before we head off. Do you want a quick price? It's literally that simple. Of course, I make it a little bit longer, give them more details, give them some selling points so they can actually have some value to go off of, as opposed to what a lot of people do and what a lot of times we hear, which is, hi, my name is X with Y company. We do Z thing. Can I have 1 minute of your time? It's like, come on, I don't want to give you a minute of my time. And one thing is that's a little bit interesting. Whenever we feel like we're about to be or we're being persuaded into doing something, we instantly don't want to do it, regardless of if it's good or bad. So you really just want to try and come off as nonchalant about this, especially when it comes to the outcome. Like, I don't really care if you say yes or no. There's always another door as well. One no doesn't make up the rest of your day. Especially if someone has no level of connection or trust with you, then your chances of getting that sale go down from literally 10% because you're nervous or sad to like 2%. So don't do that. And also, one reason why I don't use the word excited is because sometimes when I tell people to be excited after they do land the sale or they are about to close the person and they're putting in the info, they get literally super excited. And then that makes the other person subconsciously just think, why is this guy so excited? Like, does no one else buy? Am I the first person doing this? And then that subconsciously kind of just makes them unsell themselves and just instill some uncertainty. And that's why literally the Joneses effect is one of the strongest things in sales. When you know that someone else is doing something, for some reason just makes you want to do it more. Or I guess not for some reason, the reason is pretty obvious because we all want to be similar to each other. Or no, at least I thought that was obvious. Or actually, that probably is obvious. Now I'm kind of just spiraling off. But just make sure that you're always nonchalant and you're always enthusiastic. But don't overdo it, and make sure no matter whatever you do, you are not the opposite of this, which is sad and nervous. Again, that will destroy your chances of getting any sales. And this really ties perfectly into the fourth one, which is that you need to be okay with getting no's or even dealing with assholes. That's an asshole. Now, obviously, as you know, you're going to get a lot more no's than yeses. But the beauty of it is that 1 or 2 yeses a lot of the time can make up for 100 no's. And that's one thing that I always have in my head, because for some reason that instantly just makes me not care about the no's. One thing is, with a lot of people, whenever they start letting the no's get to them or start letting the assholes get to them, it completely spirals them off their track. It makes them sound uncertain. It makes them really sad. And then you just keep carrying that energy with you. And then it just keeps on going downwards. Like, you just keep on getting more negative and negative and negative and negative and negative. By the end of the day, you get none. And then you need to wait for the next day to start. And then if you still don't get a yes within the first like half an hour or whatever, then you're just going to continue this spiral or loop or whatever this is. So you always just need to be able to control your state of mind. And one thing that always helps me with this, especially if I'm dealing with an asshole or someone who's just saying no to me in a really rude way for whatever reason, I just view it as, you know what, this person, for whatever reason, he doesn't like salespeople, and they are directly trying to destroy you. They are trying to make you have the worst day possible. So my way of getting revenge is literally just by getting as much success as possible. I remember my first day ever where I started my business, Blue Shine. I got one deal, like my first day ever. I kept on knocking. This one guy, he started bashing me. He's like, let me give you some advice, kid. You need to be wearing a proper shirt. You need to have better speech. And then he starts going off on this tangent. And I was like, honestly, man, I don't care. Have a good day. And then I remember at the end of my day, I saw that guy again and he's like, hey, how's your day been going? And by this point on my first day, I don't know how, but I got like 800 to $1,000 in sales. So I looked at him and I was like, amazing. I just made $1,000 today. And then I could see the look on his face. This guy was like, I don't know what he was thinking, but I knew the guy was pissed because that's not what he wanted for me. But honestly, the more success you can get, that's literally the best revenge that you can have for people just being rude to you at the door. Always have that in mind. Success is the best revenge. And the only way you can do that is by letting go of the no's, being nonchalant about getting the no's. Again, like, I don't care if I get a yes or no, because I always know that there's another door. And the thing is, every no gets you one closer to a yes. So always have that in your head. Also, one last piece of advice I can give you for number 4 is, if you are having a bad day, honestly, just call a friend or call someone that you're working with and kind of just let it off your chest. Obviously, don't trauma dump on them. The goal isn't to make their days horrible as well. Whenever you get something off your chest, you feel a lot better afterwards too. So use that to your advantage too. That's why your friends are there. Also, really quick, if you've been enjoying the video, if you could please subscribe to the channel, that would honestly really mean a lot, and it would really help out with the growth. Thank you. Now, when I was thinking of what order I should put all of these in, I wanted to save the best for last. And this fifth point is by far the most important thing when it comes to sales. And I'm not going to say objection handling. I'm going to kind of do a different version of it because that is how I've always gotten my sales. It's never by objection handling. It's by re-looping and giving more sales points. And one quote that I use and that I've used to train all of my guys is, you can't turn the no's into yeses through objection handling. Nobody buys because they got shut down or objection handled. People buy because something triggered an emotion, which triggered an impulse buy. And that's the thing. Every single sale is an impulse buy. It doesn't matter if they spend 3 seconds thinking about it or 3 months thinking about it. Everything is an impulse buy. And that is done through selling points, not objections. I don't know. You can kind of look at it whatever way you want, but I never really objection handle. Well, I mean, I kind of do, but I just have a better word for it and kind of a different way of looking at it. And that has honestly really helped me out with having the amount of success that I've had. And the way that I go about this is AKLC. Agree, kill, loop, close. So essentially you start off after they give you some lousy objection or whatever. You'd be like, honestly, fair enough. I hear you. I understand. Then you kill the objection. You can kill it. I don't know. The way that I kill it is not by being like, yeah, fair enough. I understand. But that's a really stupid point. Don't do that. The way that I do the killing is by talking about a story of someone else. Okay, let's say I'm doing window cleaning and then someone's like, honestly, man, I'm kind of a do-it-yourselfer. I just do everything myself. I would be like, honestly, man, fair enough. I understand. Your neighbor, Kenneth or whatever, he's honestly kind of a do-it-yourselfer as well. But the thing that he really enjoyed about us, and then you loop. And what the loop is you essentially kind of go back into your pitch and you start talking about the selling points. For us, the thing that I always use is my guarantee. Obviously, I always use the guarantee in the close, but if I didn't get to that point or if I already closed, that's what I talk about all the time. I guarantee as well as the result that they get. Honestly, fair enough. Kenneth was kind of a do-it-yourselfer as well. But the thing that he really liked about it is he can't really get to the top ones. I mean, he kind of can, but they're pretty hard. One thing that he really liked is we're really doing a thorough job. One thing is we're cleaning the tops of the window frames. That way, when it rains, all the dirt won't just come back on the window. It stays clean for as long as possible. And honestly, one thing is we do have a full happiness guarantee. After we're done with the job, we'll walk around together, make sure everything looks perfect before you actually pay. And then after that, you kind of let them think. And then before I get to my close, I'd say something along the lines of, if I can promise you 100% that you're going to be happy at the end of it, would you want to get that done? And then they'll probably think, they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, maybe. And then I'll be like, okay, well, honestly, let's just get it done. Best case, you're very happy with us. And then maybe even you want us to clean your windows multiple times. You give up on the dream of being a do-it-yourselfer. Worst case, you're down $200. The windows were clean for a little bit. Yeah, that's essentially the close. Then they'll be like, yeah, sure. Or if they just keep on objection handling, you can either keep going through this, keep just killing their objections literally this time, or you could just leave it at that. And then of course I go into okay, how about we do this? We'll just get it done. Best case, worst case. Does that sound fair? If they say yes, you look at your phone. Okay, what is the best time, or what is your address, etc. It's so freaking simple. I really hope I didn't butcher anything when I was explaining this, because this is very important. This is literally how I got all my sales. And this is what has made us so successful, especially at, I think, a fairly young age as well. One thing is that I want to just throw into here. If someone wants to buy, they're not going to make it difficult. That's why I don't just do objection handles, which is like these BS scripts, like these, I don't want to say Andy Elliott scripts because he's a great guy, but you get what I'm saying. They normally are just uncertain on one thing, or they kind of just need that little extra push to make them decide, let me just buy today. And that's what our jobs are essentially. It's to turn the people that are kind of interested, or the maybes, and then turn them into the yeses. It's not to find the people that aren't interested, shut them down, objection handle them, and then sell them. Because honestly, if you've ever sold someone like that, there's a good chance that they either canceled or they just hated you when you showed up to do the job. I really hope this video helped you out in one way or another. If you have any questions on any of the things I talked about, or you just want some more help, join our Discord community. Either DM me directly or just type in the chat. I'm always more than happy to help everyone out. Yeah, I really do hope that this helps you out. This is literally how I've gone about making all of my sales, training everyone to get their sales, and this stuff works. Not just this fifth one, but all the other 4 that we talked about as well. This all works. With that being said, if you ever do want any extra help, I would 100% say check out my mentorship. That's more if you're a business owner and you want help with business, but there's that, as well as check out the newsletter as well. There's always just so much more gems in writing form, so of course check that out as well. Join the community. Enough flagging for me. Thank you again for watching, especially if you made it to this point of the video. I really do appreciate you. With everything being said, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one. Bye-bye.